What does it take to create a vibrant, thriving life? First, the sad news is that Thoreau was right. Most people are leading quiet lives of desperation, lacking in meaning, fulfillment, and vitality. But we choose more. We choose to create extraordinary lives. And the Art of Vibrant Living show entertains you with inspiration, empowerment, and education to create your life into a masterpiece. It's time. Let's vibe up. Aloha, y'all. Daniel Aaron here. I am your host. This is the Art of Vibrant Living show. Straight up, do you consider your life a masterpiece? Gandhi, when near the end of his life, and when a reporter shouted to him, "Do you have a message for the world?" he said, "My life is my message. You're not Gandhi, I'm not Gandhi, we shouldn't be. However, you deserve to have a masterpiece life if it's not all the way there. Come on, let's go. Get in touch with me. Tune in." I love that you're here, by the way. We've got an amazing show for you today. Can you tell? I'm excited. No caffeine. Our guest today, Karen Richter. She is the founder of Confident by Nature. She's a forest therapy guide, a retreat leader, a women's mentor who empowers midlife women to release stress, break free from shoulds, and rewild their lives. We'll uncover that word soon. After years of pouring herself into the roles of mother, wife, daughter, and business owner, Karen hit burnout and found healing through mindful time in nature. Oh, this is exciting. Qigong and Yoga Nidra. Now she guides others to reconnect with joy, authenticity, and the earth itself. She's also co-authored Uncover Your Light, Empowering Stories of Hope and Resilience. And she's here to share how rewilding can help us feel fully alive again. I'm so happy you are here with us, Karen. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you. I love the art of vibrant living. Like that's what I'm all about, is that vibrant. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, I teased already the audience with the word rewild and promised that we would discover what that is. I got a sense of it, though. What's it mean? Why do you use that word?
So I think a lot of us have been following what's expected of us for so many years. And that goes back a couple of generations where we've removed ourselves from the normal day-to-day, being out in nature and being wild. We've tamed ourselves. And as that has happened, we've gotten further and further away from what lights us up and makes us feel vibrant. And so my goal is to bring us back to that true nature, to that rewilded space, which is more comfortable, more what we were meant to be, what we evolved to be as we evolved in nature. So there's different modalities that we use, but it's all with that goal of bringing us back to our true nature.
Okay. Well, thank you, and I'm with you, and I'm so excited that you're doing this. My sense is it's hugely important. Let's go deeper into why it's so important, though, because I think you used the word tame a moment ago, right? What does that mean? Like, what's the problem here?
So there's a lot of scientific research that's showing that this disconnection from nature is really creating, and there's different terms depending on who you follow, but I like the term nature deficit. And so we've had a nature deficit by being tamed, by being brought indoors and tamping down what feels natural and instead doing what society expects of us. And that has some dire consequences. A lot of the diseases that we see can be removed or lessened when we spend time back in our natural setting in nature. By being tamed, we've lost connection to ourselves, our intuition. There's a lot more stress and questioning of ourselves, questioning our abilities, questioning if we're good enough. And we just, so many people are getting on this hamster wheel of just doing, trying to prove their self-worth. And there's a lot of, mental, emotional distress because of that, as well as things like high blood pressure and the stress hormone cortisol, the chronic stress that we experience in this tamed place is just wreaking havoc on all of us.
Oh, I feel almost nauseous as you say all of that. I'm with you.
Let's talk about the good stuff.
Well, not yet. Yeah, I'm with you. And like when we were speaking earlier, I shared with you how I am a product of late 60s, early 70s. When I was a kid, one of the ethos of the world at that point, at least in the US, was better living by science. And I never thought of it before we were speaking, though. For me, my youth was suburban sterility, right? That was the world I lived in. And I didn't know anything about nature as a kid, save for maybe 3 camping trips I took with my father here and there. So how did we, you may not know this, or maybe I don't know if this is even useful to talk about. I'm curious though, because you're the expert on this topic. How did we go so far off track in that, like why did we create this sense of sterility in the world? Why did we get tamed?
I don't know the origins. I can see what has happened over time. And I think, there's a lot of benefit to science. There's a lot of benefit to some sterility. As we learned about germs and washing hands, a lot of lives have been saved since, hundreds of years ago. So there's good that came from it. And I think we just swung the pendulum too far and said, if it's good to wash your hands and get wounds clean so they don't become infected, even better if we don't have germs anywhere near us and we just live in these sterile environments. We're now starting to come back and realize children who are completely sterile environments tend to be more sickly. They can't fight off disease. They haven't been exposed to germs where they can build up their immune systems. We're finding out that getting dirty, being in the soil is significantly beneficial, truly beneficial to be interacting with the good bacteria that's in the earth and in that dirt, which we used to think was such a dirty, horrible thing. So I'm excited that the pendulum is starting to come back and allowing us to be interacting with the world around us.
Yeah, I'm so with you, and I'm so grateful that, somehow as I moved out of suburban sterility, I started to discover nature. And for me, actually, it was a lot through eating wild foods and raw foods and unprocessed foods. That was kind of the entryway for me. Let's go deeper though, in terms of, you actually guide people into nature, natural experiences. You do that in a variety of ways. How does that work?
So I'm a certified nature and forest therapy guide, and forest therapy is based on work that came out of Japan called Shinrin-yoku, which means forest bathing in the atmosphere of the forest. And how that became a thing was in the 1980s. Japan was moving from an agricultural society to an industrialized society. So they were leaving the outdoors, nature, and coming indoors and working in front of computer screens. All of a sudden, Japan started experiencing higher levels of the diseases that the rest of the world was struggling with, and they hadn't up until that point. There was a lot more high cholesterol, high blood pressure, depression. And so they started researching, why was that happening? And they found that it was because of this disconnection from being outdoors. And they studied and found that being outdoors, especially around trees and especially around evergreen trees, they are emitting a chemical called phytoncides, which is how trees communicate to each other. So if you're a tree and you are getting fungus on you that's making you feel ill, you can create these phytoncides to fight the bacteria, but it also floats through the air to me. I'm another tree, and I know to now boost my immune system to fight this bacteria or fungus or whatever it is. Because we are truly just another part of nature. We have evolved. We're another natural being. We also absorb these phytoncides, these chemicals in the air. We either inhale them or even through our skin absorb them, and it boosts our immune systems. And so Japan started saying, let's get more people outdoors. It actually became a prescription from doctors.
Wow.
And they found that things like cortisol levels and blood pressure were all coming down. And so that was in Japan. It came over to the United States. We started to research it, found even more evidence, and the ANFT, the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy Guides, through which I'm certified, their view is like, let's take it even further. Let's not just use nature for its resources, for what it gives us, but let's deepen that relationship, that connection that we have. Let's have a reciprocal relationship. And so that's where these forest therapy, sometimes they're referred to as walks. I prefer to call them immersions, because we're not doing a lot of walking. It's a lot of slowing down and interacting with nature in a way that we typically don't. So even people who are nature lovers and are outdoors all the time, this is really an eye-opening experience for them to see nature differently. And if I say walk in our culture, it's how fast, how far.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I like to call them nature immersions. And what we do is slow down, and I offer some invitations of things to do to interact with nature. And everybody goes off and plays with that invitation. And then I call people back, and we do some sharing if people feel comfortable about what they were noticing, what was their experience like. And then I'll give another invitation, and they can go out. And sometimes they're very playful, and people can get reconnected to that inner child who wants to have fun outside in nature. Sometimes it's very revealing or reflective. It's all what happens in the moment. And one of the things we say at ANFT is that nature is the therapist, and the guide is just opening the door. So I am opening the door for people to have this relationship with nature that can be very, very healing.
Wow. Thank you. That's amazing. 412 questions came to me as you were speaking. And actually, I'll make one comment first and then ask you a question. I love what you shared about the trees and the evergreen trees. And just, will you say again, what is it that's emitted from them?
Phytoncides.
Phytoncides. Okay.
Phytoncides are a type of chemical.
Yeah. I mean, I think of it in some way as you spoke, and I'm like, oh, it's a little bit like a neurotransmitter in the human body in some way. That's how it sounded to me.
Yeah.
So I had the experience just a week ago. I was in the Rockies in the U.S., Utah. I was in the Rockies and visiting a friend, and she took me for a drive into, it's so beautiful around there, up into these mountainous areas, and I was looking at where we were. It was those just craggy, rocky, beige sort of mountains, and they were beautiful and amazing. And then I think it was the next day we went to a different place, and it was also elevated. It was amidst all kinds of trees, though, and it was just the beginning of autumn, so the leaves were changing. There were evergreen trees. Mm-hmm. And I had this feeling as we moved in there to that new area, like, oh, like I loved the first view the first day. When we got to the second one, I was like, oh my, there's something in me that needs and thrives with the trees in that way. I feel like I'm a canary in the coal mine in some way because I feel it in my cells. And so as you described that, I thought, wow, okay, there's a reason for that. Do you want to say anything before I ask the question?
There's absolutely a reason for that. And that's such a common feeling that people have of just... And they've done research that shows even just seeing photographs of scenes like that can cause us to automatically just sort of relax and let go of some of that tension. And there is a reason, that's our home. We have, until hundreds of years ago, that's where we lived, was in the forests, in the mountains, by the sea. All of these places have their own unique healing attributes.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm with you. Okay, so you've already covered this a bit, and I love that you did, because I live on an island here called Maui in Hawaii, and I started noticing a few years ago people advertising forest bathing experiences, and I confess the cynical part of me is like, oh, come on, you silly hippies. And I can say that because I'm a hardcore hippie for my entire adult life. Forest bathing, come on, let's just go out in the forest. So will you distinguish a little bit further, like what's the difference between just being in nature and really bathing in it or absorbing in it or being rewilded or revitalized by it? Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And I'll start by saying I completely understand that skepticism or cynicism. My way of being up until recently has been very logical and scientific. And I was, working in the corporate world, and things like forest bathing just sounded pretty out there. So I completely get it. And I get a lot of ribbing sometimes. What are we going to go do? Hug trees or forest bathing? Do I have to get naked in the forest?
What, can I interject?
So no, we're not. Go ahead.
Well, if you don't mind, what happened? How did that change for you?
So I've always loved nature. Okay. And appreciated it and liked being outdoors and recreating in nature. When I look back now, it was separate from me, though. I was observing it from afar and saying, isn't that beautiful? Kind of like we do with paintings on the wall of the art gallery. I had two experiences. One was when I got certified to become for scuba diving. And I have always loved swimming and had the great benefit of being able to snorkel on some coral reefs. And that was just stunning and beautiful. And I couldn't imagine that snorkeling would be any different than, or any better than snorkeling. But then when I got down under the water, scuba diving, and I was no longer on the top of the water observing these beautiful reefs, but instead I became a part of it. And I just have this vivid memory of like the fish swimming around me. Like the school would break up and go around me. Like they didn't care that I was there. And I felt such a feeling of belonging that I hadn't felt ever anywhere. But at that point, I just thought that was a cool experience. I didn't take that any further.
Gotcha. Okay.
What really made the shift was when I just burned myself out. I was in that corporate culture of do, accomplish more. You know, my self-worth was based on what I could achieve. I was busy raising children. I was starting my own business. It was a lot going on. And then I encountered some significant losses. And how did I handle that? The same way I handle everything in life. Just push through it, Karen. Just keep going. Don't take time for yourself. And I ended up with a very sudden, very scary health situation. And boom, I had to slow down. And that was really hard for me. I felt lazy, felt selfish to just be lying around. But as I was dealing with that, I instinctively went out to nature, which is my happy place, and recognized that I was not just feeling emotionally better, that like I was physically getting better, and that I was seeing things differently. My perspective was changing. I was feeling more creative. I was feeling like my memory was working better. And I said, this is nuts. So that's when I started researching what's going on here, and I discovered all of this because my brain likes science, and so I found all this science-backed research that showed truly what is physically, emotionally, spiritually, cognitively happening when we slow down and spend time in nature. And so I think that you talk about being skeptical, what's the big deal about going outside? And there's so much of a difference. If you go outside and take a walk and you're busy thinking about your next meeting or the fight you had with your partner last night or what you're doing this weekend, you're not getting the same benefits. You can do the studies and see that the benefits are not coming. It's when you slow down and actually observe. So that's my shift from looking at nature as the piece of artwork on the wall, and instead immersing myself in the depths of the ocean to become a part of it. That's when you can just viscerally feel what's happening and how different of an experience that is.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you both for sharing your own experience and for deepening my understanding of what it means to be bathing in the forest, immersed in nature. And as you're describing it, it's the language that came to me is it's a vibrational adjustment, right? And if we are going out into the ocean or on the beach or in the forest, and we're so caught in the vibration of the fight we had with our partner or whatever it is, we could miss it, right? So I love that Absolutely. You are helping people to take advantage, to really have the experience of it. So, and on that note, you have a retreat coming up, right?
I do.
And I love it so much. Say again, will you, the name of the retreat?
So the retreat is called Awakening Aliveness.
Yes.
And it's the opportunity to shed the stress, release the shoulds, and reconnect or rediscover your true nature.
Wow, beautiful. All right, you're not only a nature therapist and mentor and author, you're a wordsmith in that. I love the intention. I can feel the vibration and intentionality of all those words. And so for people that are listening or watching live now or soon, that retreat is coming up in November, right? We are in October of 2025 now. When is it in November?
It's November 9th through the 16th. So only a few weeks away.
Yeah, all right. It's time. Okay. So then on that note, and as time is winding down for us, a couple questions. One, what's the best way for people to be in touch with you, to learn about the retreat, to discover you, to work with you, to understand more?
So the website is confidentbynature.com. And it has a link to the retreat where there's a lot of information. I tried to think of every question that somebody could have about the retreat. And so it's all there. I also recognize that some people don't want to read through all of that. Or it's not beautiful pictures, so you might want to look at the pictures. But I would love to have phone calls with people who have any questions or want to hear more about it. I also occasionally have free, I call them campfire talks, where I am out in my backyard around the campfire and sharing all sorts of things. But a lot of times recently it's been about the retreat. So that's another way to find out about the retreat. It also has a link to nature immersions that I offer from time to time, and can I share that I can do that remotely as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and just to let people know what I love that the word immersion is coming up so much, and as you were describing your experience underwater, and I've had that too. It's such a otherworldly experience. So I love that. And so yeah, what is a nature immersion, and how do you do that remotely?
So a nature immersion is this forest therapy walk, this opportunity to be guided with some gentle invitations on new ways to interact with nature. And that can be done in person, of course. But what people are often surprised to find is that I can do that. I can guide it remotely as well. So people can call in from wherever they are. And I know that sounds a little crazy. Like here I am telling you to get more connected with nature, and I'm doing it online. But the piece that's online is the human connection, where we're sharing our experience that we just had. And then I'll give another invitation. And so people are calling in from wherever they are. The invitation that I provide is for them to go off and do X, Y, Z, wherever they are. And then come back into our Zoom room and share what that was like, or what did they experience, what did they see. And so many people have said that they really enjoyed that because they were able to do it in their own familiar territory. They didn't have to drive to another park where I'm meeting with people to lead this. They could be in their own backyard. I have a gentleman who says, he walks by this tree every single day to get into his car to go off to work, and he's seen that tree for how many years, but now he just feels differently about it, and he sees that tree differently. He's like, I have a connection. It's like a friend that I'm walking by, and he never saw it that way before. So on my website, confidentbynature.com, there's opportunities to, wherever you are, join in on one of these remotely guided nature immersions.
So cool. I love it. Thank you. Okay, and it just keeps going because I believe you have a gift for our audience. Is that true?
I do. Another thing that's on the website is a downloadable, recorded guided visualization of taking a walk through the forest. So sometimes I have people saying, I don't have time to get out and do these things that you suggest, Karen, or I'm feeling stressed out in my office, but I have to take a 3-minute elevator ride down all these flights of stories to get down to nature, or I'm in the concrete jungle, there's nowhere to go. So here's a 10-minute beautiful guided walk into the forest, and you can just feel yourself relaxing, imagining this. And so it's a little piece of nature being brought into your imagination, and that's you can just quickly download that from the website.
That's so cool. I love it. Thank you. Okay. Time is moving along for us. I love that you got the URL, the website, Confident by Nature. Is that right? confidentbynature.com?
.com, yep.
.com, beautiful. Okay, so there are many good reasons for our audience to go to confidentbynature.com. Awesome. And Karen, I believe that brings us to the last question. It's the big question, the final question. It's so big that there's no way to get it right. However, it's so impossible you can't fail either. Would it be okay if I ask you the big question?
Sure. Go for it.
And I half jokingly say all of that because, look, you've got so much experience, right, from your whole corporate background to being a mother to what you've learned through the nature immersion world as a coach. And what I'm asking you to do now is distill that, bring it all the way down. So if there's one thing that you could share with our audience, just one thing to help them live their most vibrant, thriving life, what's that one thing?
Wow, that is impossible. I would say the people who feel the most alive, the most vibrant, are those that are living a life that's authentic to them, that's living to their true values. And so I encourage everyone to just take some time to slow down and reconnect with your true nature. Because then if you're living your life from that space, it just opens up the vibrancy.
That's so beautiful. I love that. I've never seen a pine tree trying to be an oak tree. So authenticity, be your true nature, amazing. Karen, thank you so much for doing this work. And I think of it, maybe I'm just new to it, but as it's really pioneering work in our world, in our urbanized, industrialized, concretized world. So thank you for your bravery in doing that and for guiding us and sharing and educating our audience.
And thank you for having me, because I love the work that you're doing in the world and helping people to live those vibrant lives. So thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Total pleasure. And for y'all in our audience, thank you. You are the super supreme heroes of this story. We are here for you to, yes, create your life into a masterpiece. I love that you're here. Please do something with what you got. Maybe you had a vibrational adjustment. Maybe something came to you. Connect with Karen. Go on a retreat. Go for a walk, a slow walk in nature. Something from what you got today. Thank you for being here. I love you. See you soon. Aloha. Mahalo for tuning in to the Art of Vibrant Living show, y'all. I'm Daniel Aaron, and may you live with great vibrancy.